What's happening, everyone? A lot of news is coming up. To start, let's discuss what really happened with a football player and the reasons that led to his trade before the league's draft. Recent information indicates that one team was keeping an eye on this player during this period. Additionally, there has been some negative news about another athlete following a recent event, and I'll make sure you stay updated on that as we move forward. The draft is approaching quickly, and we're just weeks away from knowing who will be selected with the fourth pick. In order for us to bring you live coverage during the event, all you need to do is subscribe, as many channels are dedicated to the league, and I want to highlight that our coverage deserves a live broadcast due to this crucial pick. I would greatly appreciate it if you could subscribe if you haven't already. Now, the latest report indicates that the trade had to happen before the voluntary off-season training, which starts tomorrow. There was indeed a justification for this, but earlier, when I learned that the player was receiving offers from other teams, I thought the trade would likely happen after the draft, as teams were reorganizing their quarterback situations. However, that assumption was completely wrong. The player had an interesting view that he could compete for the starting position against another player. According to a recent update from a source, he believed he was in the running for the starting spot and felt he wouldn't have a fair chance to compete. He was confident in his skills and believed he could challenge, if not surpass, the other player for the starting position. We already knew he was eager to. A source based on information gathered from various channels throughout the week revealed that Milan saw himself as a starter. He believed he hadn't been given a real chance to compete with Drake, May, and was convinced that he could challenge, if not surpass, him for the main role. It was also known that Joe Milton wanted to be traded to a team where he had a real opportunity to compete for the starting spot, and I don't see a problem with that. If he wants to go to the Colts and compete with Daniel Jones and Anthony Richardson, maybe he'll get that opportunity. However, in the Cowboys' territory, the situation is different. In New England, that's impossible. There's no way Joe Milton could surpass Drake, May in the competition for the starting position. Regardless of the round he was selected in, whether it was the 6th or 1st, what Drake May achieved in his rookie season was impressive. I don't know if Joe Milton really watched football games. I appreciate the confidence he has. He's a good player with high potential, but he doesn't compare to Drake May. What May accomplished with a very limited offense in New England was remarkable, and I believe we didn't get the recognition deserved for what he achieved in the 2024 season. To remind you of some of his feats, he was the first quarterback to throw 3 touchdowns and be the team's leading rusher in his NFL debut, which took place in Week 6. He also had the best yards per carry average for a quarterback since Michael Vick in 2000, with 9.1 yards per carry. May was the first quarterback in NFL history to throw over 700 passing yards, have a 60% completion rate, throw 6 touchdown passes, run for over 200 yards, and score a rushing touchdown in his first 4 games. And, with all due respect, Joe Milton is a good quarterback, but he had a rough preseason and a complicated 6-year college career. After that, he showed up and made a good impression in a win in Week 18 against the Buffalo Bills, who weren't really putting up much of a fight, and what he did was completely mess up the Patriots' chances of getting the first overall pick in the draft. The two are not comparable, at least not at this moment. Maybe in the future, when Milton gains more experience. But the fact that he knew he wouldn't have a chance to compete for the starting role is a positive, although it was surprising that he believed he could really compete with May. The possibility of getting the first overall pick in the draft doesn't create comparisons, at least not now. Maybe in the future, when Milton has more experience, but the truth is that Joe Milton knew he wouldn't have the opportunity to compete for the starting position, which is a good point. However, the idea that he thought he could challenge May for the role is quite intriguing. So, what are we talking about here? I appreciate the self-confidence, bring that determination to Dallas, and I truly believe that learning under Dak Prescott's guidance will be beneficial for Joe Milton. But the notion that he thought he could surpass Drake May for the starting role is a relevant aspect of his trade. This mindset is unnecessary, especially considering there's a good backup quarterback like Josh Dobbs. I classify him as a good player, though I see him more as a mentor and veteran presence for Drake May. The circumstances that led Mike Vrabel to trade Joe Milton came from his belief that it would be better to move forward with Milton before the voluntary off-season training, allowing Drake May to have a clear path to his role without competition for the starting position. Mike Reese provided more details on Mike Vrabel's reasoning, indicating that Monday marks the start of the team's voluntary program, and Coach Vrabel sees this as a significant moment to promote the team's culture and dynamics that need to develop within each position group. While he didn't directly state that Joe Milton wasn't suitable or needed to be traded, it's clear the intention is to strengthen the team's culture, ensuring that the voluntary off-season workouts play an important role in the team's progress. With Joe Milton aware of his impending trade, it seems his involvement was, in fact, unnecessary. I've heard many people say the team lost out on this trade since they received minimal compensation for Joe Milton, but in reality, it was a positive outcome. Getting a third-round pick for Joe Milton was quite advantageous. I believe what happened was that a player selected in the 6th round developed during a year and was then traded for a 5th-round pick. I consider this a good deal, probably the best return you could expect for a backup quarterback who has just one game on his highlight reel. I think what was achieved was identifying a player in the 6th round, which allowed for a developmental year, followed by a successful trade for a 5th-round selection. This seems to be a solid move, especially when you consider what one could typically expect in return for a backup quarterback who doesn't have an extensive highlight reel. As more information has come to light, it's clear there were some reservations about trading the backup quarterback. However, in light of the circumstances, was moving the player the correct choice? If you find yourself in agreement, feel free to share your opinions in the comments. Personally, I supported the trade at the time, aligning with a favorable viewpoint. On another note, the NFL draft is just a few weeks away, and Colorado recently held their pro day, which aligns perfectly with the timing. The standout performer truly excelled during this event, and it was expected that any observing team would take notice, which indeed happened. His showcase during the pro day has likely boosted his draft status, potentially posing a challenge for the teams situated in New England. Another key defensive asset has also attracted positive attention from his pro day. A reliable source mentioned a growing belief within the league that he might be the top choice for the team with their 2nd selection. Reports indicate that this team has shown sustained interest in him during the evaluation period, and during route drills on a recent Friday, the general manager was seen watching intently from about 10 yards away. Initially, the plan was to outsmart another team to secure his services, but that changed when the Patriots decided against sending their head coach to the pro day. Instead, they dispatched the vice president of player personnel, which raised questions about their approach. It was unexpected that the Patriots didn't bring their head coach for potential engagement, especially considering the positive interaction at the NFL Combine, where the head coach referenced their shared experiences of playing on both sides of the ball. This connection seemed promising for a player like him, who still aims to take on multiple roles in the NFL. Now, there's not just one team to compete against, as another team appears ready to make a selection, which could result in other prospects being picked by the initial team. The dream of acquiring him to enhance key players is rapidly fading, particularly after an unforeseen result in the last week of the season led to losing the 1st overall pick in the NFL draft. Considering the situation, my confidence in him being available at the 4th pick is low, sitting at about 2 on a scale of 1 to 10. It seems probable he will be chosen among the first 3 selections, leaving the team to pick 4th. An analyst from a well-known sports network reflected that while it's not entirely impossible for him to be available at pick number 4, the general sentiment leans the other way. As the season progresses, confidence regarding the draft fluctuates. At this moment, the evaluation stands at a neutral level. The first 3 picks will be crucial, and there is also the 4th pick to consider. There is a possibility that a specific player will be available at the 4th pick. However, the general perception is that the franchises with the 3rd and 4th picks represent the absolute limit for this player. It's certain that he won't fall past the 4th pick, as that team will definitely take him if he's available. The concern right now is that he may not make it past the 2nd pick, which would leave the team with the 3rd pick open to select another talented player. The 4th team will likely opt for this other player if the first name is already taken. This creates a dilemma, as all teams between the top 4 have a common strategy. If the first option isn't available, they'll consider the 2nd. On the other hand, if the 2nd is also unavailable, they'll go back to considering the 1st. The only potential exception would be if the team in the third pick decides to opt for a backup quarterback, which seems unlikely given the current starting quarterback's presence. The upcoming draft promises to be quite interesting, and before we wrap up the considerations, it's worth noting that the event is just a few weeks ahead. The anticipation is growing, and it's important to be prepared with the best products to represent the team during that crucial day, which will take place on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. There are various cap options available in different sizes, shapes, and colors. If the player is chosen by another team with the second pick and a third team opts for a different player with their pick, trading down could be an intelligent strategy. This approach could still secure a solid tackle or even acquire additional picks from a team interested in making a move. The strategy remains the same, but it seems that the focus is shifting away from the first option as he gains more and more attention before the draft. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to Patriots Hub and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep delivering the latest updates on our New England Patriots. And don't be shy. Share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. The buzz surrounding Baker Mayfield's potential move to the New England Patriots has reached a fever pitch. Despite an eventful career that has seen both triumph and turbulence, the quarterback's future now seems to lie in the hands of the Patriots organization. Rumors have been swirling for weeks, with fans and analysts alike speculating on what this could mean for the franchise's hopes of returning to playoff contention. The whispers are growing louder, and the league is watching closely as Bill Belichick and his team seem to be gearing up for a major shakeup in their quarterback situation. Mayfield, who has had an up-and-down journey through the NFL since being drafted first overall by the Cleveland Browns in 2018, has proven to be a polarizing figure. His 2023 campaign with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers was a mixed bag, with flashes of brilliance and moments of inconsistency. However, his performances, especially when paired with his leadership abilities, have caught the attention of the Patriots front office. With New England searching for stability under center, Mayfield's arrival could be exactly what the team needs to revitalize its offense and give it a fighting chance in the highly competitive AFC. This potential move has stirred much debate. While some argue that Mayfield still has untapped potential, others point to his struggles with turnovers and inconsistency as reasons for caution. Yet, despite the skepticism, the Patriots seem increasingly intrigued by the idea of bringing him in to compete for the starting job. The team has been in desperate need of a reliable playmaker since the departure of Tom Brady, and the addition of a quarterback with Mayfield's pedigree would certainly signal the dawn of a new era in New England. Adding fuel to the fire, insiders have hinted that the Patriots could be looking to sign Mayfield as part of a larger, more ambitious rebuilding strategy. It's believed that the organization sees him as someone who can lead the team through a transitional phase and potentially return it to glory in the near future. The question remains, will Mayfield thrive under the intense spotlight of New England, or will the pressure be too much to handle? As we wait for official word from both the Patriots and Mayfield's camp, one thing is for certain. The quarterback market is hotter than ever, and this story is far from over. Fans, analysts, and the football world are all on edge, eagerly awaiting the next chapter in Baker Mayfield's roller coaster career. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our New England Patriots, be sure to subscribe to Patriots Hub and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.